Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer. How are you doing? I'm here to talk to you about the events of June 2016, astrologically speaking. And okay, so let's see. The first thing that's kind of interesting is when we have our new moon this month, um, it will be the 4th or 5th of June. And not only, so a new moon is when the sun and the moon are close together, right? So we've got the sun and the moon, but also Venus is there. And now get this, the planet Saturn is opposite, and of course those are all in Gemini, right? Because it's early June. So we have sun, moon, Venus, opposite Saturn. And then also we've got Jupiter squaring the sun, moon, and Venus. And then on the other side, Neptune squaring the sun, moon, and Venus. So there's a lot of people in on this new moon thing. And, new moon is about these new beginnings. And so much of this energy is going on in Gemini that it's just a really amazing time of letting go of old thoughts and feeling really like anything is possible. Even with that Saturn opposite, you think, ooh, Saturn seems to block things, but Saturn can make you sick of something and feel like this is the end of this, or I'm taking charge of this. I'm taking charge of my thinking, because Gemini is so much about the thinking. And that you can be tired of the back and forth thinking, because Gemini can so much easily see this way or that way, kind of like Libra. And some other signs. I'm saying Libra because I've got a lot of Libra. But and I want to put Geminis down, but they can make themselves crazy from the what ifs. And that Saturn can come in and say, this is where we're going to do it. We're going to take this action. We're going to have this plan. And so also Jupiter and Neptune are also about expanded possibilities. Even though with that new moon in there, the tendency could be, a lot of confusion, to be pulled away from your truth, which can be that Saturn. So I think you can watch out for asking too many people advice about things. If you feel like it really resonates in you, it's like, I'm pretty sure this is right. Or maybe just conferring with like one close friend or something like that. Because there's a tendency with the Jupiter Neptune getting involved that you can sort of water down your power, and it's like, we don't want to go there. We want to stay with Jupiter and Neptune being faith and in making the changes you want to make. Now, the other thing that's very cool is that when we get into later in the month, the Sun and Venus are going to continue to kind of be together, and then they are going to sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. So they're in Gemini, sextiling Uranus, and then later in the month, Mercury goes into Gemini and also sextiles Uranus. So those things mean when you're dealing with the planet Uranus, it's also about this unlimited possibilities. So it's like Uranus brings, when it's making that positive angle to Gemini, really brings out the most positive part of Gemini, is that unlimited possibilities and being free to think in new ways. And, even with things that you felt were kind of dead end, and maybe because we've just come out of this Mercury retrograde in Taurus, it's like this breath of fresh air, because Mercury in Taurus, if it's backwards, can just feel like you're up against a brick wall, and like, this isn't going to change, or this is no way out of this. And all of a sudden, all this Gemini of like, yes, it is. It's all possible. And believing that your thoughts can change your reality, and then making them be positive thoughts, because Uranus making that angle is like unlimited possibilities again. So that can also, especially because we've got Venus involved, when the Sun and Venus do that with Uranus, it really helps with relationships and having a new attitude in relationships, and a brand new way to approach things, even in long-term relationships. So that is wonderful. A few little tricks here. Before Mercury goes into Gemini, it is going to be opposite Mars. Now, Mars, and I want to talk a little about this because Mars is going to go direct at the end of June, and it went retrograde in Sagittarius, but it backed up and went into Scorpio, and that was the last few days of May, like Memorial Day weekend. And then Mars will go forward on June 28th, okay, and it goes direct in Scorpio, and that's going to be great. We'll talk about that in a second. So Mercury, before it changes into Gemini, it will go opposite that retrograde Mars. And Mercury, again, Mercury in Taurus can be kind of stuck in its thinking, and Mars retrograde is like, I want to change, you know, and it's can be old stuff because it is retrograding in Scorpio, old stuff that you really want to release, but it feels so sludgy and stuck and goopy, you know. And so that Mars opposed Mercury, you can feel really frustrated with yourself during that time. And this is like around did I write the 9th? Can't read my own handwriting here. Yeah, it's around 9th and 10th of June. And so it's like we have that new moon coming, which is like, things are possible, yes, you know. And then that Mercury Mars can, you know, kind of test your belief that there is new things possible. You can kind of get stuck in that old stuff, and then you need to push it aside to be ready for that later energy of the Sun and, like I said, the Sun and Venus to Uranus and Mercury to Uranus. So it's just one last piece of showing you what you don't want to be doing, I guess, you know? And then, especially with that Mars then going forward in Scorpio at the end of the month, it's like being able to get rid of a lot of stuff, resentments and old things about money, sexuality, just how you limit your own power, control issues with people having control over you, feeling like kind of a victim to circumstances can be Mars retrograding in Scorpio. And when it goes forward, it's like, I am, you know, the master of my own ship. And I do feel like I know how to make my life be good and powerful and all of that. So it's like, again, you could see it as any of these things that are maybe frustrating you are things that are going to be able to be released very quickly. So we can look at that if you get frustrated in that part of June, the 9th or so, to see that that's something that can get dislodged. It's something your soul wants to let go of, and it's ready to be let go, and that's why you're feeling frustrated about it, because it's like you're gonna crowbar and it's almost there, and then it sort of pops off, you know. And so like something in you is struggling to be free, and it's just showing you, hey, I'm struggling to be free, you know. So don't think like, oh, there's a struggle thing, everything stinks, you know. So it's just showing you what's getting ready to be lifted off with just a little more effort, pops right off. So this whole month is really cool about you know, tapping into these new dreams and new hope, and maybe, you know, talking with friends about new attitudes about stuff, you know, because coming out of May with the Mercury retrograde stuff in Scorpio, in Taurus, that, you know, that's so much about looking at what you don't want, and being able in June to say, you know, like, what is my life going to be like when I do have that new job, or when we do make, you know, if you're a couple, you do make more money, and imagining those greater possibilities instead of like, oh, this, you know. Where are we going to take that vacation when we have the money to do that? Or what is my new relationship going to look like if I'm single and I'm drawing in new people? Or I'm making health changes. And so talking to friends about what's that going to look like? And this is what I want things to look like for me. And this is what I'm going to draw to myself. And what are you going to manifest for yourself? Or what do you think is possible for you? Maybe not even if it's likely, but that it's possible. So just opening and talking about possibilities with spiritually minded friends could be really great, instead of that stuck energy of that Mars retrograding in Taurus. Remember, Mercury retrograding in Taurus. That was in May. Not putting Taurus down at all, not putting Scorpio down. I'm just saying when those planets are retrograde, they're kind of bringing out the more challenging pieces of those signs. So that's what we're talking about here. And so I think that's enough talking. Oh, I do want to say that Neptune's going retrograde this month, and that also is about visualization. And because the outer planets retrograde once a year and then go direct once a year, they're really, so say Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are basically retrograde half the year. No big whoop that they're retrograde. It's just when they turn retrograde or direct, it's a little extra energy on them. So if Neptune is about the creative visualization and imagination, you know, it's a great time again to be imagining what's possible. And with all that Gemini, like, what do I want to bring to me, you know, in this fresh energy? Oopsie, something happened to my computer there and I dimmed for a while. Okay, so I guess that's all I want to say to you. If you would like to have a session with me, you can contact me at my website, which is alunamichaels.com. And you can send me a little note here on YouTube or through email on my website, whatever. And I hope you enjoy this month. I think it's going to be fun and very liberating and fresh energy. And just know that you're almost there. If you're working on something and it's been like, oh, am I ever going to get to the end? It's like you're going to make it. You're going to be able to, again, lift that piece right off. You put all the energy in, so don't give up on that. And have friends that are, you're encouraging each other to this new reality. So anyways, see you later, and I will talk to you next month.